Hello, welcome to Bunny's Tarot. So I did want to do like a PSA real quick. On Sundays, it's gonna be like my little podcast. Welcome to Tarot. And I like came up with this, and I was just confused on how I was gonna do it until I realized like, oh, I'm already doing it. Um, so you know, but I will be going back to pick a cards hopefully within this next week or two. Um, Hopefully either on Wednesdays or Thursdays I'll do them. I just kind of have to see what's going on, where I'm at with everything. Oh my gosh. And like my stress levels at this point. Um, but the biggest thing that we're kind of going to be talking about is busy work, right? Because that's automatically what I was channeling, busy work. I have a cup of coffee, just a lot of zoom, zoom, zoom energy, things being swept from up under you. And you might kind of feel that way 10-10 on the time. You might kind of feel that way just in general because of everything that's going on. Like this entire year has gone by so freaking fast. I need to stop cussing on here, just in case one day I can get monetized. um, but things have been so fast. And they do kind of want you to take more of a, not necessarily a resting period, but know when to speed up and when to slow down and how to navigate that, right? I don't really have anything specific, I don't think. Wait, actually, I do. Food pyramids and food for thought. Like, where are you on the food pyramid? And that's another thing I was picking up on is like trickle down economics. How well does that really work? But where are you on that food pyramid? And you being where you are on that food pyramid puts you in more of a desperate space, yes, but more in need. Especially if you're not taking the time to acknowledge that it's putting you in need, and you're just kind of like, because the way I see the Empress, yes, it's like creation but reversed. Having a creation and not going through with it because of like whatever fears or lack mindsets, right? So kind of being able to see that for what it is, that like you have this beautiful thing that you can create, that you are creating it, and that once you leave your lack mindsets behind, about whatever the situation is and how like great it is and where you belong in the world and all that shit, all that stuff, my bad. um, then it'll be a lot easier to leave the things that no longer serve you in the past, the things that kind of keep you stagnant, and it's kind of like waiting for the wands to fall. And I always say the wands are falling to like build you a new foundation, a new home, and like this and that, but whenever they fall, they're like swords in your back the entire time. One, removing that fear that the wands that are falling are swords in your back. Because the only reason that they appear that way is because there's a lack of understanding in the situation, or um, because past actions, because if you use your will and it's not necessarily in the best energy, and you kind of are living out of like lack and wants and needs and this and that, which like basic thing to do nowadays, 411, especially with the economy the way that it is, babe, it's hard out here. But whenever you choose the things that you want from the universe out of lack and out of discomfort, they will give it to you just so you can kind of face it. And that's a part of it, is kind of like anchoring you deeper into your truest will and what you want. But they do kind of want to kind of, again, I'm hearing like sweep the rug from up under you so you can realize like, hey, this isn't what I wanted. Or even if it is that because there's almost like this level, again, crossroads, right? This level of like, oh, I'm not ready, or like, even if I am ready, what am I gonna do with it? Or like, am I good enough for it? And like, Spirit wants you to know you are good enough for it. You are worthy of all that is meant for you. Nothing can be taken from you if it's meant to be for you. And I think that's kind of the biggest lack mindset that we have going on right now. Another thing, guess what, guys? We're gonna have a new deck soon. I try not to buy new decks. We may need to replace something soon. Don't forget. um, but I'm gonna have a new deck soon because all of my decks are taped together or like completely falling apart. So like I just need to get a new deck. Um, okay. Also, there could be something that holds sentimental value to you that you need to get rid of during the spring cleaning. 606, 15. 15 plus 15 equals 30. 30 is a multiple or some, it's a value of 6, right? Yeah, your guides are definitely calling you out on something you need to get rid of during the spring cleaning. Again, it's just something with sentimental value, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a an object. I'm specifically getting people's multiple people, birds of a feather flock together. Who do you really want around you? And how much discomfort are the people around you causing you without you even realizing it? Because if they have you leading in lack more than they have you leading in truth and in love, then that's a problem, right? Um, but specifically, just like a combative situation, they do want you to know that you have the strength to pick up and leave, or that sometimes 8 equals 56, right? Um, yeah, that you do have the strength to leave, and that you're gonna be like given directions on how to cope with that, because it's kind of like dragging you in both ways. But still, I am picking up on like just a object that you kind of need to get rid of. Spring cleaning in general is going to be important for you. I would definitely set your intentions while you spring clean so that it's not just for no reason. Okay. Another thing I've been picking up on a lot is be willing to speak your mind regardless of if anybody's going to back you up in it. Be willing to fully speak your entire truth regardless of if anybody's going to back you up in it. 811 and then 818, and then yesterday I saw 211, 311, 111, 411, 511, 711, 811, 911. So there you go. But seriously, be willing to speak your entire truth without anybody backing you up. Be willing to speak your entire truth, even if a motherfucker is gonna tell you you're lying about it. Or that you're a liar, whatever. You believe you enough that nobody can take that from you. 1111 and 999. So yeah, a lot of like just guidance in general on how to get to that next spot. Okay, they're telling me I gotta get into the otherworldly stuff. Because that's the whole point of this, like, being a podcast, which I guess it's a podcast now on here. I need to tighten up with how I do stuff, I guess. I don't know. But yeah. Okay, so really question your shadow and the things that you're picking up on. Question the veil in general, because that's what this what is it called? The full moon and eclipse, the lunar eclipse was about, was shadows coming, regardless of how like thin or thick the veil is, being able to see what's going on behind the veil. And I mean literally, so things are gonna change like a lot. Like hallucinations, babe. I said in the last video, those aren't hallucinations to a certain extent. Don't scare yourself out of life. Um, because like it's cool. It's all a part of life, and the more fear that you connect to it, the less you're going to want to connect to it. 1019, 1019. Um, which is really hard to talk about because I'm not gonna lie, whenever I first started having actual like clear sentience, which had them for a long time, it's not like something that scares me now, but I know whenever I talk about the things that I see to other people, they get terrified. And they're like, oh, this bitch is crazy, right? No, I'm like the most sane person I know. But that specifically is like spirits communicating. Some of you might be mediums, and they kind of want you to dive a little bit deeper into that specifically. Um, and again, going back to speaking your full truth and nothing but your truth, it's very hard to talk about mediumship or like psychic abilities without people being weird about it or like calling me crazy or this and that, even though it's out of their own lack of understanding. Big pharma, don't make me come for you today. Please don't make me come for big pharma today. I don't got the time. Um, but they really like set it up in a way that anything that was legitimately spiritual was seen as crazy, and then people went down their own rabbit holes and misunderstandings. So it doubled down 411, and then I saw 811 earlier. 4 is half of 8, right? Um, so we're only really getting half of the story of what's real and what's not real, but the more people that understand it, the better. Because you don't go to a psychic and be like, oh, you're hallucinating. You just don't do that, right? But if someone's seeing demons and shit, it's like, oh, go get on medication instead of actually giving them the knowledge that they need to understand what's going on to them so that they can do the work that they need in order to connect back to lighter beings, because that's all it is, right? 1212, 1221, and then 1224. Because yeah, it's not as scary as like we even imagine it to be. Again, I posted something not that long ago about fool's gold, and how big pharma fool's gold. Um, and that's something I've had to work on, honestly, is not dimming my truth for like anybody. Which is really hard because people are the way that they are, which isn't like their fault, but it's kind of difficult whenever like I'm so sure of my truth and you're just like, I don't know about that, babe. I'm like, no, like this is it, babe. Like this is it. Um, but because like I'm really open about my gifts. I'm very open about it. And I do just want to say, God didn't give me these gifts. I've had these gifts my entire life, my soul's lifetime. No one gave me these gifts but me. Same goes for you. Ooh, so, and this is kind of questionable. And not everybody's going to feel the same way about it, and that's up to you how you feel about it, right? But, okay, Christianity. Because that's not even where it starts. Catholicism, right? Catholicism and Christianity. Christianity is a sub-religion of Catholicism, right? Both practice a form of witchcraft, right? Because they do. Satanism is, again, a sub-religion of Christianity and Catholicism. Um, so this is just like their own little beef in a corner, really, is all it is. Every other religion is just like, what are y'all on? Um, and then I've been getting the message of the old gods are coming back. They are. Things are not going to be hidden anymore in any way, shape, or form. Things will be directly in your face, and that is why I'm giving the kind of warning 1441 of things are going to be a lot more in the physical than we realize soon, because things were never meant to be this hidden. But let's get into that part of it. how they're all just sub-religions of each other. Um, and because of colonialism, it was spread all over the world and everybody practices it, even though like majority of our ancestors had nothing to do with Christianity, Catholicism, anything like that. Majority of our ancestors did not give a fuck about that shit. 1515. And now everybody just practices it, even though it's like witchcraft, even though it tells you it's not witchcraft, which the reason a god wouldn't want you to practice witchcraft and oracle and things like that is because it gets you closer to a truth that is meant to be hidden, right? But also another thing is, which is really hard to explain my perspective on this because I'm just supposed to be a girl, right? Okay, clock that shit. No, no, no. Um, hold on. But you need to take some time to look at the comparisons to Greek and Roman mythology, not just Greek and Roman mythology, obviously, but those two specifically right now, and how Christianity kind of plays into that, or really, because Christianity doesn't play into that, Christianity was kind of like a face of that, so that it makes people more comfortable and is a, you know what I mean? Another thing to think of is the fact that all gods, all gods are given a specific part of the world that they kind of need to work on. Fuck. You peep how all this is going on. All gods are given a specific part of what they need to work on. All gods are given a specific job. Again, not everybody's gonna agree with me on this, but it kind of is what it is. You know, but the Christian God, the Catholic God, was a god driven in ego. And that is why Lucifer fell, because Lucifer saw that for what it is. No one wanted to believe Lucifer on it. And so he was cast out to hell, right? Because, oh, you're not following the plans how it's meant to be. But another thing, I'm not saying like Satanism is great, because I think the way people lead is all out of ignorance, because, you know, we have a lack of understanding altogether. Lucy. He shows up. He shows up for his people, babe. Let me tell you. He really does. Because that's what he was meant to do. He was meant to be in the darkest corners so that he could bring light and to help people understand. And yes, like during your journey, you're gonna get lost. You're gonna get lost if no one believes you. That's why I'm saying speak your fullest truth. You're going to be lost if no one believes you. And if everybody's leading in ignorance, guess what? It's kind of automatic. And that was the path he was meant to go on. But our ego-driven God decided, which is going to be a little bit controversial, but is also a false God, was not meant to have the work that he has now, which really demoted, truly demoted, which is something no one wants to talk about, because why do you think he never shows up? He only shows up to those who give and give and give, but he barely gives, right? He just, oh, like, you're good, be grateful, right? No. Because that's not how it was meant to be run, and that's why I am here to speak on it. Sorry. Sorry, babe. Doxed. Doxed like a mug. But in that, it's like, okay, Tinkerbell, you're a fairy. If no one's giving you like hope and faith, you don't have any pixie dust anymore. But if you're giving all of your hope and faith to this selfish, greedy god that is a gas guzzling pickup truck, came for you like that, my bad. Yeah, maybe my beef is a little personal, but if you knew, you would know. Anyways, but if you're giving all of your energy to this God that is because I think we forget we are all God's children, so whatever we are completely connecting to, whatever we are completely connecting to in our physical world on a regular basis, look at all of the things in the world that is going on. After billions of years, this is where the world is at. I wonder what happens whenever nobody gets clocked for their shit. I wonder what happens whenever Lucifer's name is thrown in the dirt completely, even though he was speaking truth. I wonder what happens. And yeah, this is kind of like a tough topic. Hindsight is 2020. This is kind of a tough topic, but um, you know, and what I'm gonna say is also controversial. There's only one truth. There's just different perspectives of that truth, different aspects of that truth in different beings, right? So God, one being, made Adam and Eve, which is very indicative of what Pandora's box, Greek mythology, Roman mythology, whatever. Eve ate the apple, but again, what God is God enough? Because even that wasn't supposed to happen like that. What God is so godly that they get to take away knowledge from the people? You don't get to decide to take away knowledge from anybody. 1221. I mean 2112. You don't get to just take away knowledge from human beings like they don't deserve that knowledge to learn and grow and to be. Just because your aspects and the way that you view it is. I'm gonna just leave it there. Give me a second. But either way, like, the veil is thinning, the old gods are back. I'm telling you now. Um, okay. 222. Oh, so yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. How I don't, like, support Satanism. Let me make that clear. I think everybody deserves redemption. I truly do. I don't think casting people to a different plane, even though that plane's on Earth on the regular, and we're all just running rampant here. I don't feel that way. I feel like everybody deserves redemption, and that was a part of my journey, is to fight for the redemption of those who have been cast away. Just because, like, really, like, think about how little light is on this earth. Think about how little light is in hell. Because hell is just on earth. And then again, going back to how we are all God's children, right? Yeah, he technically was the being that created us, but our souls are outside of his existence. That's why I say my gifts are mine until, like, I'm gone. Like, and even after that, ain't nobody taking that from me. But MC, he, we are all God's children, right? This is how God's children are acting, right? Everybody's fucking batshit insane, right? We don't even live life how we were meant to live life. We were meant to live by nature. Regardless of how much you love your air conditioning, that's just kind of what it is, babe. We were meant to live in nature, live off of the earth, but no, we are deciding to destroy nature because we refuse to live in our nature. And see how I just keep skipping over the God's children part. Everybody's losing their fucking mind on earth. I wonder why. Tower of Babylon is like the simplest way I can explain that. Your children are building a tower to meet you, to love you, in your fear, in your anger, and your discomfort, and your ego made you destroy that tower and change the languages so people could no longer communicate. To what extent are we willing to deny ourselves ourselves? Because just as God is God, you are God, we're all God, right? To a certain extent. Obviously, we all have different, like, power levels, and we all learn differently and are here for different reasons. Because at the end of the day, Earth is still just school. And I think that's the thing we forget. And I always say, yeah, it's a school, and yeah, you should have fun with it. And it took me a long time to realize how you can have fun and still do your job, because to me, this is my job. Um, but 9 to 5, 9 to 5, right? Trickle down economics, pixie losing its pixie dust. Help me out here, babe, because I got lost. But yeah, you're meant to be here to get lost, to go through every aspect of everything. You are meant to go through every aspect of every dimension of hell. You are meant to go through every aspect of light dimensions. You are meant to. But with the understanding we're sold in anything now is that we are meant to stop ourselves and our voice in order to hold on, hear me out. We are meant to stop ourselves and our voice in order to go to somebody else to ask us to have a voice for us. Thanks. I love you guys for that. Um, mm. Okay. And there's only so much I can really say. I feel like at least just because then I'm crazy. Um, Even though I've experienced as much as I have, I'm crazy, right? Even though you've experienced as much as you have, you're supposed to look at yourself and be like, oh, I'm crazy, right? No, no, you're not crazy, babe. You're not crazy. Hold on. Because that's the weirdest thing about doing this. There's a lot of disconnect. And if you take the time to acknowledge your feelings during this entire video, you will notice the different levels of disconnect and how they show themselves. Oh, but let me make that clear. Like, I don't disagree with, see, no, don't let nobody skew your shit. Speak your fucking truth. I don't agree with Satanism because of one, it's just another aspect. It's just a sub religion of another religion. So how is it its own religion? Technically, it can't be. It's just a sub religion of that religion. But I don't agree with it because even though like I have some questionable tattoos, I have some questionable things that I work with, but I will say, like, I've met demons nicer than human beings. I'll say that. Another thing, like, I don't agree. I think there are levels to things. I think we are meant to experience things to a certain level, and we are meant to guide ourselves out of it. As like I work with multiple dimensions of hell to kind of realign it so it's not to the extreme that it was brought to, because people being cast out for no reason. Punishment is harsh. Sometimes we'll say that. Same way, whenever you die, you don't go to heaven or hell. There is no heaven or hell. There is outside of this world. Like, you know what I mean? There are light dimensions, which some of you guys will start seeing your different guides. And again, don't be afraid of them. Be not afraid, babe. But like, they're your friends, you know what I mean? But again, like, I don't hold on, just stay with me. I don't disagree or agree. Let's agree to disagree. Okay, there we go. I just think that people being cast away is not, like, great either. Like, you're neglecting your children. You're neglecting your children, sorry. Sorry, like, that's how I feel about it. So, like, you can't be mad at them whenever they, like, act out, you literally can't, because you're neglecting your children, so how are you going to be mad that they act out? Like, yeah. So like, yeah, we're bringing light to that so that people can grow and like have redemption, because redemption is a thing. Um, Instead of just letting people rot within themselves, we do tarot for them, and we help them understand in different levels and ways that they wouldn't have understood before, right? Hold on. Let me get out of this because it's gonna piss me off. Okay, because yeah, Lucifer was an angel before all of this. He was an angel, and he's still an angel and doing his thing. Like, he's doing a great job. He's doing amazing, sweetie. I'm letting you know now. Um, so yeah, I'm not reading these, but someone's lying. That's what this one says. Someone's lying. Um, Attract. Like shit to flies. I mean, flies to shit. We got it backwards, mumbo wumbo. Um, Someone's ancestors really wants them to pick up the work. Um, like really. Um, and all of the insanity finds sanity, and that's what this is as much sanity as it can be. Tree of Death, that's another thing. You can't get to the Tree of Life without going through the Tree of Death. You can't get to the Tree of Life. You can't get to 3113. You can't get to Utopia without going through the belly of the beast. You can't. So for any bit of redemption or healing to take place, we have to acknowledge that this is happening. Again, I'll say it over and over again. I have met demons nicer and more respectful than human beings. Another thing I want to talk about is the fact that I genuinely don't really believe, well, one, I don't believe in free will, because if it was your will, you would have a different understanding. It's everybody else's will kind of skewing it and twisting and turning, and then your will is just kind of like, oh, like a video game, you kind of get a choice. But like the choice is already made for you, which isn't a bad thing. It's just like living it to the fullest. And again, are you living your life to the fullest intention, or are you living to please the societal norms that we have? That's another, like, I got one life left, bitch. You think I'm doing that thing. Keep playing. I'm doing it. We're getting it done. Okay, so I'm being told to talk more about the spiritual stuff, not spiritual stuff, about like the connection and you see how like just completely blank, because no one wants you to really know about that part of it. They just want you to give you all their pixie, give them all of your pixie dust. Yeah, because how can you have love for all and then choose to cast people away? How can you have love for all whenever you choose to cast people away, whenever it is a part of the prophecy for Lucifer to do the work that he was meant to do? Because it really is a full prophecy, and we're not going to get into all of that, because it really, that's some shit, bud. But I don't know. Dude, hold on. So one thing I'm being told is take a look at purity and what that means to you, what good and evil means to you, what you think Lucifer's job is, the devil, right? Because the way I see it is he is there to test our free will, what left of it we have, at least. He is there to test us to see how willing we are to bend to anyone's nature because he. Give me a second. He, when I say like Lucy clocks shit for shit, he clocks shit for shit. And you know, whenever you see something bad happening, you gotta speak up, right? So he speaks up. But that doesn't mean he won't like tempt you to fall into your own rabbit holes in order to, again, because all it really is you getting dragged through like all 9 levels of Dante's Inferno, right? And then still choosing to be your purest soul because that's all his job is, even through all of the discontent. And I'm not, because then it comes back to this idea that God is a false god, and I'm saying I'm I'm just gonna leave it like that. God is a false god, right? And Lucifer is the real god, but that's not the case either. Okay, we all have our part to play in it. But definitely a false god, false twin flame. Orion and Lepus. Um, but Orion and the hare. Orion and the hare. Continuous cycle of just bullshit. Let me tell you. Yeah, so where do you fit on this food pyramid? How much work have you done to be fully in touch with your soul in order to, yeah, how much work have you done to be fully in touch with your soul in order to, acknowledge that all of the gifts that you have are your soul's gifts and none of it was given by God because your soul is your soul outside of the God that was appointed, because he was barely anointed, appointed to do this section of the work because it is just one section of the work, babe. That's how I feel about it right now. Okay, wait. See, and I'm getting distracted by tickety tockety and like it's the distraction's always there for a reason. You know, the test is always there for a reason, don't get me wrong, but the test could be a lot simpler and a lot less misleading if it weren't for a lot of the disconnect. Okay, let's see what's next. Okay, another thing to ask yourself is where are you going after all of this? You know, like, and that's the biggest way that I kind of disconnect the humanity of it. Don't get me started. Because what is humanity on right now? I wonder why it's on it like that. Don't blame Lucy for it, because he ain't got shit to do with it. He said, no, you're not putting that shit on my name, bro. Get the fuck out of here. But again, where are you going after this? You're not just an NPC. You have a whole soul, dude. Like, you have a whole soul. You are not meant to just work and, like, live and be in these struggles and wait to croak to get where you need to be. That's not what you were meant to do. You're meant to go against the grain so that you could be all of the things that you were meant to be instead of falling into the heartbreak and the struggles of the world, because that's all it is. And it's just like, oh, well, that's the world, that's life. Like, no, the fuck, this isn't life. Last time I checked, the birds aren't living like that. The birds are free flying, free falling, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. The squirrels are chilling. Everybody's doing their thing. We're the only ones that thought we were better than nature and decided to fucking destroy it. Like, and that's what's happening. And I was like, oh, I need to stop cussing and I need to stop cursing. I need to stop cussing because, like, monetization, this and that, like, whatever, fuck it. I don't think, and that's the biggest thing for me. I don't even care about monetization. I just want the fucking truth out there. I'm tired, bitch. I'm tired. Okay, so one thing I do want to talk about is, like, the bumps in the night, orbs, or even like there's a guide. Hi. They're chill. Um and if you ever like, I don't know how to explain, like you'll know it whenever it's there type of thing. But they do want you to connect back to them more and listen to them. And they will kind of give you advice on how to do that. 4004. 7 times 7 equals 49. 7 are lucky numbers. So yeah, you will definitely be given how to do that because it's a very hard thing for me to explain without looking absolutely fucking insane, because I'll just make some jokes about it and call it a day. I will too. Yeah, because everything in the world tells you not to believe that you have power outside of yourself, and that's not it. That's not it, right? This deck is like fucking cursed, dude. It kinda is, though. I'm not gonna lie to you. Um, New things coming to light. What shade are you? Not like, oh my god, that sounds interesting. No, but what shade are you? Are you, not in a race way, okay? But if we want to talk about that, we can get into that because I've been having some moments about that. Which truly is low-key just a representation of the fight between good and evil. Good and evil again. So, what shade are you? Not in a racial way. Are you black or are you white or are you gray? Right? And even if you're gray and a little bit darker gray, that's fine. Or if you're gray and a little bit of a lighter gray, that's fine too. But there's this idea that we can be pure and like whole and white if we, and that's just not the case. Or if we like pray this many times a day, or if we like light our incense this many times a day, or if we have crystals, like that doesn't take away from the pain and anguish of our souls. And the fact that our souls have been living for so long that it accumulates like just kind of trash over the years, and you kind of have to work through that, sift through that, and the way that it shows up in our physical is the same way it's showed up in our souls' lives, for however long it's shown up, right? Um, and it's just that acknowledgement that you are a soul outside of this physical world, outside of any god that gave you life, or stars above your head, whatever. 'Cause that's another thing. Have you spoken to the stars recently? Have you spoken to the trees recently? Have you spoken to your ancestors recently? Have you spoken to your spirit guides recently? Because those are things that are really important, especially in the illusion of the physical world. Because that illusion, everything, all that's gonna fall real soon. All of it's gonna fall real soon, and there will be no denying that the veil is gone. Which again is a very kind of tough thing to speak about, right? And I'm sorry, I'm just gonna say I'm not like a love reading type of bitch. I'm just not built like that. But what I do have to say about love and situations like that, false twin, right? Because I said it earlier, false twin. With that comes a lot of disconnect in other relationships. So a lot of twins either, which is kind of hard to explain, a lot of twins aren't even like real twins. I said it. Sorry. Sorry. A lot of twins aren't even real twins. They have been completely misguided because of this kind of situation. And if you saw the microaggression, it was there. Because that's the thing. I don't just like channel messages and words. I will channel entire beings and the way that they like, So little microaggressions like that, that's important. And it just got lighter. Okay, so how are we tapping into our inner voice? How are we tapping into spirit, right? What channels are you tapping into? Do you know the connection to those channels and what those mean for you? Do you know, can you understand it? You know what I mean? Which is really hard to fucking put into words, dude. um, but again, outside of like all of this, you're living one life. Say this is your last life ever. Are you gonna look back and regret everything you did, or are you gonna like be grateful that you lived the way that you lived? And are you gonna be just grateful that you're alive? Are you gonna ask for more? Um, because that's the question. 511. And again, I don't want you to kind of like feel upset. This is like, again, it's tough conversations, right? But I really don't want you to feel upset in any way. 4554, and I want you to understand that like you have real support, even if you can't see them, like you have support. And that's something I'm like very isolated in my life. My entire life I have been extremely isolated. You guys like you guys know I've been through some shit. So when I say like spirit and my guides, they hold me the fuck down. Like they make sure I am okay. It's not easy. It's hard as fuck to deal with. Seeing life the way that it is, understanding the way that it could have been, understanding the way that it was, that is hard for me to deal with, and they constantly hold me the fuck down to make sure I'm okay. Especially in my own day-to-day shit, like they make sure I'm okay. And they want you to know and understand how much they are fucking there for you and how genuinely much, like, they fucking love you to their cores. And there is no denying that, and they just want you to know that they're gonna show up and be all, ha ha ha, hey, what's up? Me personally, I talk shit with them. I'm not even gonna lie to you, I talk shit with them. So, like, shoot shit with them. They are your besties for the restie. Like, allow it to be what it is. 711. And then a Black Sabbath song is playing in the background. So you may like Black Sabbath, you may enjoy old rock. Someone in your family enjoys old rock and they miss you. And they just want to say hi, that they're there. Okay, and I know I just kind of like dumped a bunch of shit on you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I hope like people understand what I'm talking about. Because again, the way we have been skewed is crazy to me. Don't let the confusion of everything stop you. Don't let the discomfort of everything, 811, of everything stop you. Keep doing your shit and, like, do it well. 818, the more you care, the more it makes a difference. 4824. Also, the way you live, the way you experience things, the way you understand things makes a fucking difference. The way that you speak about others, the kindness you show to others, whether you expect anybody to see it or not. I'm letting you know, motherfuckers see everything. There's no hiding. But seriously, like, the energy you put into everything, the kindness that you put into everything, the consciousness you put into everything matters. Even if it seems like it doesn't, it matters. Also, another thing is, if you feel like a lot of activations or changes, those, they can be scary. Like, I'm not gonna lie, they can be scary as fuck, babe. And like our bodies are automatically like, "Oh, nope, this is evil and nasty, and I'm gonna fucking, I'm gonna tweak out, right? I'm gonna tweak the fuck out, this and that, right? So we automatically start living in the old path, right? But that is exactly whenever you need to admit to yourself, hey, everything is okay. This is the truest path that I can be on right now, and I am living in love and truth. Like, you have to ensure that shit into your brain before you get, like, booped, you know? Booped. Okay, whatever. Because it can be really easy to get dragged back into different shit. Can be really easy, and that can just be as simple as like, oh, I don't fucking know, like, change is scary just in general. Like, it's really easy to relapse because of change. It's easy to just like lose everything because it's such a difference, and our bodies and our minds are built to escape everything. Like, our literal minds are made to escape harsh things in our reality that aren't comfortable for us. Like, that's why a lot of us lose memories from trauma. Like, it's natural, but we 5150. Um, that's a channel I've been getting. So it's easy to kind of lose your mind and everything, and like, that's not what we're here to do. We have sanity up in our brains, you know? We got all the sanity. We got all of it. We got all of it. 511, 5 111. Damn. But I also do want to say, just be a silly goose. That's kind of like, that's how I see Lucy, at least. Like, yeah, he handles like heavy shit, I'm not gonna lie, but that's who you get goosey with, dude. Be a silly goose with that motherfucker and have a great time. Um, if you're ever having a bad day, that's who I go to for sure. Um, yeah, literally, like, it's the best person to go to. That's the one person I know that if I'm angry, he's gonna be like, okay, look, babe, like, yeah, you're angry as fuck. Yeah, be angry, but like, also don't be so angry that like, whatever, you know, you snap on people or like this and that, right? Or if I'm just in a silly mood and like, you know, will fully encourage a silly, goofy mood. That, yeah. That. Um, yeah, I think that's all I got. They're telling me to log out. So, this is the new podcast, 5225. Welcome to Terra. Fuck. I love you guys. Be safe, be kind to yourself, be kind to others. Do your shadow work. Do your shadow work, please, right now, especially do your shadow work. I love you, I love you, I love you.